Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Tonight, we are talking about the Nancy Guthrie case out of Pima County, Arizona. Retired Pima County detective says he believes that they know his name, the perpetrator in the Nancy Guthrie case, also known as Porch Guy. But are they keeping it a secret, and can they prove it? We're going to talk about all of that and more on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace, smile through pain with a painted face. They call me too loud, too much, too strong, but honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me stand. I've been whispered about and written off, judged by the gloss, not the cost. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my courage, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Coming in clutch, better tighten them pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, better tighten them pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch.
Where's that Ratui?
Coming in clutch, better tighten the pearls, dropping cold facts. Got the truth for the world, no smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. If you have a complaint about something and find your content is being used incorrectly, infringement was not done on purpose and will be rectified to all parties' satisfaction. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is May 25th, 2026. It is currently 9:57 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Bonjour. Hi, Pearls. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you all. Really do appreciate your time. Tonight we are talking about the Nancy Guthrie case out of Pima County, Arizona. Retired Pima County detective says he believes they know his name. We have a poll right there in chat. Do you believe they know his name of the suspect of Nancy Guthrie? Put a 1 in chat for yes, a 2 in chat for no, 3 for unsure, and it will automatically add it right there to the poll. Before we get started, you know what I gotta say. If you would be so kind and please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button or double tap that screen if you're on mobile device. Also, if you would consider sharing this out, hit that share button, copy that link, drop it in any of your favorite social media. Also, if you would consider hyping this video after the live stream on your mobile device, it has to be on a mobile device. If you don't use it, you lose it. You get 3 hypes a week. Consider hyping it out. Hype. The more you participate in chat, the more points you get. How about that? All right, guys, we're going to get started with it. Let me say hello to a few of you guys in chat before we get started. Who all do we got in here? YouTuber up in here. Tucson believes they know his name. Tina, good to see you, believes they know his name. Mike doesn't believe they know his name. Sherry says, Michelle says, Deb says, Susie Q Canada. Good to see you, Deb. And Susie Q. Char, thank you so much. The Girl Banks, thank you so much. Jackie, hello. Deb, hello, darling. Connie, good to see you. Christy, Angel, good to see you, my friend. Susie Q Canada. Leslie, always keeping it real. Miss Grace, LSR, hello, my dear. Ruby, bonjour, darling. Sabria, good to see you, my friend. Susan, hello. Birdie, Shannon, how you doing, babies? Miss Susan, Shari, good to see you, my friend. Ratui, Tucson, Deb, Rodina, good to see you, my friend. Army, good to see you, friend. Green Eyes, hello. Wendy, Susan, Shannon, Robin, Army Vet, Connie, everyone. Hello. Big old hellos to everyone. Hopefully you're doing well. Got a lot to get to. I also want to talk to you guys about our interview the other night. I haven't got to speak to you guys about the interview that Mr. Z came up and spoke to us. I did speak to him yesterday, by the way, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you, and I'm digging in deeper. I'm still not sure how I feel about the interview. I think he's very nice. I think he's very charismatic, but I don't put blinders on for anybody, to be honest with you. I did tell you guys that I'm like, Zach, will you do a mask? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I ordered one, and he gave me a Jordan address, and as soon as I get it, I'm shipping it over to him with a box of chocolates or something nice. So I don't know. I appreciate him coming up. I appreciate him answering questions, and I appreciate him doing the mask. Um, I have trust issues, Justin. You and me both, girl. So yeah, I'm just kidding. Good to see you. 445. I got 546 in two chats already. In guys, hit the thumbs up. Come on, just do it. Also, I want to go over just a couple things the interview room spoke on last night. Not last night, a couple nights ago. I was listening to the interview room earlier today, and it's just the one with Chris on there. And I love it when I, not to say because they all add a lot of value, but sometimes I like just Chris on there when he's just flowing with his thoughts. Um, when you can just flow with your thoughts and get them all out. There's not like a panel going. I mean, I love the panels. Don't get me wrong, trust me, but I kind of liked it like that the other night too. So we'll go over a couple things he said because very, very interesting things that I thought. Yeah, I can send him a bite light too. Should I send him a bite light? Put a one in the, well, not a one in the chat. Hold on. Yeah, let me see here. We'll stop this. Put a one in the chat if I should send a bite light too. Put a one in the chat if I should send a bite light as well. And a Ring doorbell camera. I can get a Ring doorbell camera cheap. I might as well send him a Ring doorbell camera, a year subscription, the mask, and a bite light. How about that? You know, we want a controlled environment to do our test. Our test. Oh my God. I'm going to order a bite light now. Good thoughts. Jeanette, thank you so much, my darling. Appreciate you. Welcome to the Pearl family. We really, really, really appreciate you. Good to see you. Thank you very much for your support, babe. And Miss Patty, thank you so much, honey. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for your support, Miss Patty. Very kind of you. Finally caught alive, Dreamcatcher says. Abigail, we had Zach on the other night. He is the guy that worked for the dealership with where I can't even think of his name. Luke Daly bought the Range Rover. So yeah, I mean, might as well put a bite light in there. So yeah, some people didn't like what I said during Zach's interview, but I'm sticking to it. I don't believe anything he said. Nothing. That's absolutely fine, Widow. That's absolutely fine. I don't just take people's word like in this kind of situation at all. You know, I verify, honey. I verify around here, baby. So yeah, all that stuff. If we have time, we might go maybe over a little bit of that. We'll see. First, what I want to get to is the smaller things, and we're going to get to that retired detective from Pima County. I'm sure Chris Nanos wouldn't have him any longer because it seems like if you work there more than 3 years, you're out. Right? So here we go. Nancy Guthrie update. Investigators already have suspect's name, says retired Pima County Sheriff's detective. I thought this was interesting. And let me see where the poll is. Again, if you haven't voted, you can vote. Do you believe they know his name of the suspect in the Nancy Guthrie case? 73% so far says they believe that they know this person's or person or persons name. Put a 1 in chat for yes, 2 in chat for no, 3 in chat for unsure. It will automatically add it to that poll. I do believe that they know who this is. I absolutely believe that they know who this person is. I don't, again, I think that they will be back, in my opinion, at the Daily's home. That's just my opinion. I want to make it clear that we are in no way, shape, and or form saying that anyone is involved in the Nancy Guthrie case. All parties are innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. We're just talking about, we're just speculating on theories, what could, may, perhaps have happened. But this is one of those cases where, in my opinion, it could really go any way, and we just simply don't know. We simply don't. However, there is a lot of interesting things. Some cases that we cover, it is pretty clear. But again, with this case, it's one of the few cases that where you see all the reporting and it's everywhere. I've never seen a case where the reporting is just everywhere. I follow kind of like, I'm interested in these search warrants and all that because I just don't believe they didn't have, like, something led them there and it wasn't the shape of someone's eyes. I'll just say that. To get a search warrant to go into someone's property, that's big. You have a right to your persons and your FX in the United States of America, and your FX are your stuff. You have the right to that privacy unless the courts have deemed that there is overwhelming, generally, probability that it could be linked to a crime of some sort. Again, it's not saying that you're guilty in any way, but still. Okay. Here we go. In a May 20th article published by the News for Tucson, Robbie Mayer, a former detective with the Pima County Sheriff's Department who solved Tucson's infamous prime time rapist grapist grapist, if you get what I mean, case in 1986, shared his theories on the Nancy Guthrie case. A man named Brian Lavera, I hope I'm saying that right, the primetime grape man, was presumed responsible for breaking into Tucson's home to burglarize them and SA female residents from 1983 to 1986. However, he took his own life when police surrounded his house. Much like Lavera's case, investigators have tens of thousands of leads in the Nancy Guthrie case. Quote, "We ended up with more than 4,000 leads," Mayer recalled of the primetime grape man. One of the detectives had Lavera's name as a lead, but he hadn't gotten to it yet because he had so many leads in front of that. And that's why, if you have firsthand knowledge, that is the only time you should really be giving a lead, sending a tip in. If you know the person that has the lead, then they need to call it in, right? But I believe that, in my opinion, just my opinion, I believe that they already have this person or person's name. He continued of Nancy's case, quote, "I believe suspects' names are in those 50,000. The question is if they can recognize it when they see it. Being in a case like this is like being in a field of rocks and you're looking for it under one rock. You just have to keep turning," end quote. Additionally, the former sheriff's deputy shared his hunch about what happened to Savannah's mother. He speculated that more than one person was involved as part of the theft group that was active in Phoenix 2 years ago and targeted elderly people with money. I think that is very, very interesting. I don't know about you guys, but um, there was this theft group in Tucson a couple years ago. Maybe it's still active today, but they were targeting older people, and he thinks that it could be linked to something like that. What do you guys think? Do you think it's linked to something like that? I think it's possible. I used to not think that this was done like, again, like Chris says, I still haven't left the house. And that's kind of one of the points that I'm going to bring this evening. Chris was talking about it, and I want to go over one of those little parts. But again, I go back to Tommaso and Annie. I don't know if they were steered, like, I understand that they had to look at them in the beginning. I don't understand why it took 40 days for the car and stuff. That's what I don't really understand. And they kept going over there, and they kept going into the garage specifically. So, did Nancy have a safe? I have no idea. No idea. But what I am going to disagree with him on, if they were like, this is what he says here, right? He speculated that more than one person was involved as part of a theft group that was active in Phoenix 2 years ago and targeted elderly people with money. I'm not sure I agree with him on that. And I'll tell you why. Because Nancy's home was immaculate. They weren't my Tucsonians. I think that's how you could say it, Tucsonians. Tell me, when they were doing that, they were taking stuff out of the home. They weren't taking the people out of the home, right? Because if they were taking people out of the home, I can see that. But if they were taking valuables out of the home, then I don't believe it's them, or it could have been. Right? Thank you so much, Sandy, for the gift. Appreciate you, my love. Thank you so very much, babe. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, lovies. I don't think he cleaned up if he's involved. No, in my opinion. Because there's a difference in going in an old person's house that has money and taking their stuff versus taking them. Right? Big difference. One just wants to get your valuables so they can sell it and make some money quick. Others, they want to take you for the money, if you will. In my opinion, families involved in this and was planned. I think this was planned regardless if family is involved or not, right? Like, I think we can all agree with that. The 11th, he was right there on that porch, right? I want to know if they took out important paperwork related to loans for A&T. Dying to know which boxes they carried out. They did carry out boxes, but I don't know on that. Well, Sherry, they said nothing was taken, and the house was immaculate. And I'm sure the kids would know. I mean, they've lived in that house for ages. You know what I mean? Okay. Excuse me. Mayer also acknowledged that a lot is still unknown. This case is so unique. Most of the time, we try to find patterns. We can't in this case, he pointed out. These guys came prepared not to leave hair or DNA. Well, I mean, I do believe they came pretty prepared. I do agree with that. However, there was a hair found that is unrelated to the family. Now, again, I think most of us can agree that this guy is not family. This guy is not family. Definitely not family. Most of us agree with that, I would say. So, they found a hair that is, or they found DNA that is not family related. Now, it could be a hair of a cleaning person, it could be a hair of a maintenance person. But I feel like wherever they found this hair, they were confident that it had to do with the case, right? Whether it was on the bed or wherever, we have no idea we just know it came from inside the house and that it's unrelated to family. Okay. I am leaning towards the theory that T was the mastermind and intended to scare Nancy and ransom would be paid, but she died inadequately. Really. T, in my opinion, hired perps to stage scene and or abduct her. What I see in other interviews with YouTubers, but not sure it's true. I think if T and A are involved, the goal was for her to not be alive. That's just what I believe. Now, I think if this was, you know, people that was doing it for ransom, yeah, the goal was for them to keep her alive, but things went bad. She was very fragile. She was very fragile. I don't think the hair is going to help. Sadly, I don't. I do. I think it's going to take time. I do think it's going to take time, but I do think they will solve this. Yeah, I do. All right, where was I? This is so unique. He pointed out that these guys came prepared and did not leave hair or DNA. Well, we don't know that. Look at how the guy was clothed, he said. They turned off their cell phones. Now, that's interesting. That's interesting. Does he know that? Does he know that they turned? I mean, I'm sure that they did, but interesting. Still, he said he believes the mystery of what became of Nancy will be revealed in time, telling News 4 Tucson, quote, "This is a very high caliber investigation, and I think the FBI is going to crack the case." I absolutely agree. I think the FBI will crack this case. There's too much writing on this. They will solve it. In the meantime, detectives are working to process DNA evidence, and they are still seeking information for area residents with more than $1 million in reward money available. Nancy was last seen in her Tucson on the evening of January 31st. As of this writing, investigators have not named a suspect. So there's that. That's this is so heartbreaking when Savannah put this for Mother's Day. It's so sad when she says miss you. She liked to fly with their son Cameron. I like that Nancy was very adventurous, especially for her age. I like that a lot. Bless her heart. Oh, that's Nancy's great grandmother. I just realized that. There we go. That's sweet. Such a loving person. Really was. Just very loving person. My heart can't imagine just what she went through. It's unfreaking believable. All right, guys. Let me put our friend Chris McDonough from the interview room. He had a very good live last night with with John Ramsey, the father of Jean-Benet Ramsey. Very, very good live. We might review some of it tomorrow. I'm going to see if Dr. Vanna can join me tomorrow, because we've been talking about doing the Jean-Benet Ramsey case for quite a while. I grew up with in the same place that Patsy Ramsey grew up, and Patsy's family's from where I am, and so is John. He's not from where I am, but he has family where I am, and my dad was best friends with a man named Alan Ramsey, and when I was a kid, Jean Benet and I were very close to age. And I remember when this happened, I would be over at their house as a kid, and it would be like on the news, and they would talk about it forever. It's just crazy, crazy. It's one of the cases that I don't have much of it. I have opinions on it, but I'm really confused. Summer breeze makes me feel fine. Good to see you, my dear. Appreciate you. Nanos made too many mistakes. He did. Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Babs. I think there's some very, very good parts on here, in my opinion, that I've got some comments on. I gotta find my timestamp though. See, I like it when Chris gets started and he's just going with his thoughts through here. 1 second. I gotta find
in
the
a war
timestamp.
room. You have all of these sheets of paper up on the wall, and you're writing down all of these answers.
Let me find it 1 second.
Victims, learning her family members, and then you expand out from the victim to just those people, and you learn about their patterns of life. You learn about all of their idiosyncrasies, and then from there you expand out into the
talking about the victimology of the victim, right? You want to know, are they a high risk continuum? Are they a low risk continuum? Nancy was about as low risk as they come, and that's what makes this case so perplexing. Pam, I replied to so many emails earlier. I might have replied to your, I think I did. Yes, I did reply to yours. Yes, I did, baby. Yeah, I did. Sure did, honey. Thank you. Hope you feel better. Maybe if they find Nancy, maybe they will find others as well. Well, look at Suzanne Morview case. They weren't looking for Suzanne when they were actually looking for someone else. And who did they find? They found Suzanne Morview. They wasn't expecting to find Suzanne Morview. And that's why every single time they search for Nancy or anybody else, every search is successful. And what I mean by that is you either know where they're not, right? Number one, or you may end up finding someone else that solves another case. You'd be surprised. It happens more times than you think.
The neighborhood, and you learn about the neighbors, abandoned residences behind the house, dogs that are making noise in the middle of the night. All of these are answers to the why, and they start presenting themselves. And that's how an investigation starts to gain momentum. And then there are very glaring inconsistencies within that process that present themselves that are so obvious. You cannot go from one domino to the next. You can't skip and jump over a
That'd be
domino.
darling.
You have to resolve why this domino is in front of you.
Yes.
You know, why these data points aren't making sense. You know, why this, you know, trip to the gas station to collect video. You know, all of these whys have to now start, you have to plug them. You have to plug the holes. Because that then tells you, okay, we have a cistern that has water in it, but there are holes in that cistern. So you've got to fill those holes, and the investigation becomes the water. It starts to fill itself automatically. And eventually you have...
Well, you know what makes me, Mike, again, what strikes me, I'll never forget this day. When they were over at Nancy's and all of the YouTubers and the news, and there was a swarm of them over there. They were working at Nancy's house. All of a sudden, what did they do? They booked it over to Annie and Tommaso's. And they started knocking on doors. There was 150 agents and police out there, not including YouTubers and all the circus of media. And they started going in their house, and they started going in their backyard, and they started looking on cameras, and they started looking out in the desert there. And then the night that they were at Annie and Tommaso's for 3 hours, particularly looking in the garage, things happen in the garage, right? They were there 3 hours. They left with things, and then they went back over to Nancy's, and they were allegedly looking for a phone. Now, why were you over at Nancy? Why did you go Nancy's, go over to Annie and Tommaso's, and then back to Nancy's, looking in that yard? Why? I'll never forget that. And I was like, ooh, this is not good. This is not good. Sometimes I literally feel like they're hiding this woman and giving us some crazy story. Nothing makes sense. I don't think that they're hiding. I mean, I do think they're hiding her, but I don't think she's alive. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Dab. Good to see you, babe. Lori, Wendy, hello, YouTuber. Well, I mean, what could be the reason? What could be the reason of that? Think about this. Nancy was over at your house. According to them, she was fine. Tommaso dropped her off. She's at home. He went home. What? She was fine there. You shouldn't need anything there. And to be in a house 3 hours, you're doing some real work. You're doing some real work if you're in a house for 3 hours. What is that work that they were doing? They kept the car longer than anybody's. I mean, it's weird. You gotta admit it's a little weird. You know, guys, A&T could have squashed this speculation early by endearing themselves to the media instead of hide and take off something is off. The hiding of the faces is weird. It's weird. Kept the car 45 days. Now, the excuse is that they had to take it to a repair shop to fix it.
This, analogy of the cistern that is full. And that is the full cistern that you take to the U.S. attorney's.
And I tell you something. The best thing ever And this may sound a little weird or even harsh. Forgive me if you think it does, but Nancy bleeding on that porch is a good thing. Because if they put her in any vehicle, there's going to be blood somewhere. And you're not going to get that blood out with luminol. Luminol is, you can scrub that till the day of judgment. And that luminol is going to light it up.
His office, or you take to the district attorney's office and you say, here it is. And then they step out and say, well, I want to see it. And they make a scene visit. And Fox News just happens to be there with a drone overhead.
Listen to this.
And they come in and they start processing in their own mind, how will a jury see this? How will a grand jury?
Now, that's a good question, AZ man. Why is it that Luke and Carlos did an interview after they got, I don't want to say they got busted, but after they did the search warrants? How about that? Why won't A&T get in front of this and do an interview? Something is odd about that. I agree. However, some people do act a little, more quietly. But it's weird. I agree.
See this? How will ultimately, 12 people that had to give up their life for, probably a very long time in this case, how are they going to see this? And so they have to start connecting those dots visually and on the scene, but they're visualizing it in a courtroom.
That's
and
true.
These are all processes that have to take place.
Listen to this right here.
Without the interference of anybody like this. In a courtroom, a jury doesn't care if you have 16 stars on your body. Actually, 17 with the badge, now that I notice it. Think about that for a moment. 17 stars on this guy's uniform. And then he's also got his little salad bar over here. Okay. Is that any different than?
Yes, it can. It's almost impossible to get that blood out. It will light it up. It will light it up. I don't care how much you clean it. There's still proteins in the carpet or on the seat or wherever. And that's why a lot of people like burn it, scrap it.
Then my son's Eagle Scout, he's got all of that stuff. And what's he projecting there? That's power that he's projecting there. Look at me. You don't have this. I do. Well, I don't care about that. I care about this. Because this guy looked at Nancy and may have said, look at me. You're going to do what I say. It was these eyes, again,
last night.
to remind
Night before,
everybody,
it was.
right? All of us. But more importantly, I'm talking to the sheriff. It's these eyes that count. Not your stars.
Well, this is the thing. The word professional, there's not actually a lot of real professional hitman out there. Like real professionals, real professionals. But I think it was very well planned there's things that to me that are very weird, like the cameras, the neighbors' cameras, the inside cameras. Those are very weird to me. Right? Why did he take the one camera outside? Out of all the cameras, there's cameras inside. Why did he not take those? Oh, it definitely wasn't a cartel. No, hell no, it wasn't a cartel.
You're not the star. You are no longer the star in this movie of life. Savannah Guthrie and her family deserve to know who this person is. And at the very end of that, maybe one day you'll be able to pat yourself on the back and say, look what.
I don't know about that. They would investigate and tease to make sure that they were there and possibly nothing happened. There may be, in my opinion. Well, yeah, they are going to investigate, right? But here's the thing. If Tommaso dropped her off, right? Just dropped her off, went back home. They should be able to corroborate that with some cameras. Now, the vehicle that they drove, the Honda, it's an older vehicle before 2015. And so the telematics is much different, right? There's not the black box, so to speak, in that vehicle. And that makes me wonder, did they take this vehicle apart? And I mean apart. Like, did they take everything of this vehicle off? And that's why they kept it so long. I don't know. But if, I'm sure that there's people in their neighborhood that has cameras, right? You leave in to take Nancy, or Nancy coming in with the Uber, staying a few hours, Tommaso taking Nancy home, dropping Nancy off, driving back to his house. You would think so, right? Guys, we got 1,418. Please hit that thumbs up button or double tap
What
that
my
screen.
team did.
Appreciate you being here.
But until that time,
I agree, 247.
you're running out of time.
I agree.
And the longer it takes, the more emboldened the suspect gets.
That's crazy.
That they are making progress away from the investigation. Away from the investigation.
Concrete. What do you mean the concrete, horsey?
What say you?
They've never talked about it. They did take it. All right, let me find it right here.
Or goes cold. Does that mean the investigation leads to no arrest and case goes cold? Does that mean the 911 call and body cam footage will never be released to public? They would have to keep it under the umbrella of this is an ongoing investigation. If they cannot justify that, i.e. the case has been suspended.
And trust me, there will be very high-powered attorneys trying to get that for the big media. So it'll probably come out sooner or later. It might come out sooner than later. It just depends on how much they fight with it. I want that Uber video. That's what I want.
Suspended and put on the shelf, because that's what we would call it, that the case has been suspended. They would have to release the 911 and maybe the body camera footage. But if it's still part of an ongoing investigation, they can stonewall, which, by the way, the sheriff's department has a history of.
Yes.
They could stonewall it to the public.
Yes. Yes. I want to say that Chris is absolutely right. Every time you request a FOIA from Pima County, denied, 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 denied. And usually, like, if you fight them a little bit and you bring up statutes and all that, but Pima County, they're assholes with FOIAs.
Look, under the guise of it's an ongoing investigation. Hopefully that doesn't work that way. With the scene compromised, how important is it going to be to find evidence outside of the scene for any trial to come? That is a great question, Real Mikey.
Okay, listen to this.
All right, so there's two things that could happen, in my opinion. The evidence that they recovered under the search warrant before they released the crime scene, that could all come in under direct evidence for the trial. Okay, that shouldn't be an issue. Now, there's going to be some hearings, as we all know. There's going to be pretrial hearings, and the defense is, going.
I think most of us, Goose, thinks that this guy is not, a white guy. I don't think, like I said, I don't think this is a Jeff Smith kind of. And if you look at the names, when they went to the GUN store, it was not a Jeff Smith kind of name, right? So it's
going to stand up, and they're all going to argue, which is great because that's how it works under the Constitution. Okay. I don't see any real problems right now with that evidence. But the moment that scene was turned over back to the family and released, from the sheriff's department, i.e. they released custody, the chain of custody to that crime scene, it's anybody's guess how many wins
Absolutely.
the defense will get.
Absolutely. You can go to, so you can FOIA as well. You can any address in America and ask for how many times emergency services has been to any address, right? Which they might release that. I could probably get a FOIA with how many times 911 or ambulance has ever been at Nancy's. They'd probably release that
in pretrial hearings. So let's say the FBI
he didn't
gets that evidence of the video.
Let me find that.
After the scene was released, there is a high probability a good defense attorney will argue that's what they call fruit of the poisonous tree. That, it was compromised, and they're always going to argue that it could have been tampered with. They'll probably play the video of the journalist walking up on the porch, taking pictures. They'll probably, argue in their briefs that, look, there was even pizza being delivered, even though, you got to give JLR credit. That guy works like a machine. Okay. And, it is what it is. They'll argue those kind of things. And so will some of it get tossed out? It's possible. What we can hope for.
Okay, we're going to come right back to this in just 1 second. I want to look at something real quick here. Take that down. Pretty sure it's this one. No, it's not that one. It's this one. Sorry.
Asking for purchases made in the past year. not take the camera with them. Zoo department was actually out here
Watch
with
this.
his camera ready to go and rolling when two sheriff's department investigators were looking at an object on the top corner of the house. We zoomed in and read the word ring. A quick Google search matched it with a floodlight security camera model. The deputies did not take the camera with them, and the sheriff's department later indicated their deputies were not out there looking for security video. They would not give us any more information on that. CBS is also reporting the FBI is going around Tucson checking out gun stores. Agents reportedly are asking for purchases made in the past
Holy
year.
shit.
A reporter
Holy shit. Wait a second.
out there looking for security video.
You know that light that they tore in the back of Nancy's house? Did that thing have a fucking Ring camera on it like that with the light? Is that why that was torn off? I bet it was. I bet that's why they took it off. I bet it was. Because they have these Ring cameras with the floodlights. And Nancy's back. So he might have taken two cameras. Yeah, they sell them in packages. Little black skies to the office, please. Is late. I bet you anything. Look at there. That's the Ring camera with the floodlight. It's a package. Let me see if I can find. Hold on 1 second. Nancy Guthrie. Backyard light. We're going to come right back to that in just a second. Fuck yes. That thing has a fucking camera. Yes, it does. I bet you. Well, I don't know if it does. Hold on. This is interesting.
They would not give us any more information on that. CBS is also reporting the FBI is going around Tucson checking out gun stores. Agents reportedly are asking for purchases made in the past year. A reporter at her sister station KOLD in Tucson spoke to one gun store owner who said agents showed him photos of different people and a list with different names.
I was looking at the photographs and I said, you know, I'm no investigator, but based on that video I saw of that kidnapping that happened with the Guthrie case, I haven't been keeping up with it. But I said, based on that video that I saw of the kidnapper at the house who was caught on camera, the facial hair that I saw on the video reminds me a lot of these photographs. And he kind of smirked and laughed and he was like, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Did you hear that? Yeah, that's why I'm here. Listen to that little part again.
Based on that video I saw of that kidnapping that happened with the Guthrie case, I haven't been keeping up with it. But I said, based on that video that I saw of the kidnapper at the house who was caught on camera, the facial hair that I saw on the video reminds me a lot of these photographs. And he kind of smirked and laughed and he was like, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Investigators also telling us they have more DNA evidence that they found in Nancy's home that's being looked at. The sheriff's department is also working with the manufacturer of Nancy's pacemaker. As we've reported, the pacemaker stopped syncing with her phone the morning she vanished. Something called a signal sniffer is being used to try to detect the pacemaker. And back to that DNA lead that we were talking about earlier, from the results analyzed from a pair of black gloves found about 2 miles from Nancy's home. They were put into a database for convicted felons. The new route that could be taken is trying to find a match with familial DNA, which basically is finding close relatives from databases like Ancestry or 23andMe. People who live in Tucson were telling me earlier that they're hoping that one of these leads will stick. And a source tells us that the DNA taken from a Range Rover that was towed away last week is also being analyzed, and they're waiting on those results as well. Don't know on a timeline for that, but we're hoping it will be sometime.
So if we go back here, right, this is a Ring camera with a light combo. This is a Ring camera with a light combo. And wondering if Nancy's back door, did that have a camera on it? That light. Look at this. Did it have a camera on it? It was, why would you break the light? I mean, you could break because it's a light, you know, but there's something, I'm wondering if there was a camera on that now. It's got my wheels turning. Looks the same in white. I sent the pic to your email. Thank you, my dear. Let's see what it says. Yeah, yep, I got that one. We're going to pull that one up right here. Let's look at that. Going to go to Fox News.
Good afternoon, John. And we've just seen in the last few moments some activity here at the Pima County Sheriff's Department. An evidence truck just pulled up, and we witnessed a couple of law enforcement personnel walking into the Sheriff's Department carrying what appeared to us to be some sort of map. Now, this follows that intense activity we saw yesterday at Nancy Guthrie's home when agents, for instance, were scouring the rooftop of the main building there. They had a ladder up against it, and they were looking all...
That roof does look brand new, doesn't it? It sure does.
Over the roof. And then on another sort of building that is in the yard there, they were up on top of that. And at one point, we watched as one of the agents removed what appeared to us to be another camera from that particular rooftop. So that was interesting.
There's the light right there. Okay. All right. Look at this. I bet you there was a fucking camera on this. I bet you, because look, there's floodlights right there too. Why wasn't those floodlights broken? Why wasn't those floodlights broken? That one was.
To see them going back there again and getting yet more evidence. Also, you might remember that a floodlight, the FBI confirmed, was mentioned by whomever wrote that first ransom note. Now,
let's see here. I don't know. It's so hard to tell. See, this was one day and they took it off. They ended up taking it off and taking it in. Yeah. Yes, but there is the Nest motion floodlights as well. Right? Like here's a newer one that the neighbor has. Here's a newer one that the neighbor has. Nancy's rings were older.
Looked yesterday for a floodlight that might match the description. We saw one next to a back door that was clearly broken, damaged in some way. That light now, our cameras went back up in the skies today, looked at that same spot. That floodlight appears to have been taken as well.
But why break just this floodlight when there was other floodlights in the backyard?
And then finally, late last night, investigators towed away a vehicle from Nancy Guthrie's house. That appeared to me to be the blue Subaru that we had seen prior to that, parked inside her garage. Remember, the garage is significant because detectives say that opened at 9:48 p.m. last Saturday. Closed 2 minutes later. That is when they believe Nancy Guthrie returned to her home. On the back of all of these developments, President Trump hinted on Air Force One last night that a breakthrough could be coming. Listen here.
I think we're doing very well. Very well, meaning we have some clues, I think, that are very strong. And I think we could have some answers coming up fairly soon.
Now, you mentioned that second message that was received yesterday by one of the local TV outlets here in Tucson, John. It appears that did not contain the proof of life that the Guthrie family.
I have not heard that, but if that's true, that's very interesting. Nancy's pocketbook had $360 cash. The crooks did not get it, nor the pocketbook. They say it's some awesome. For a real robbery, you would take the money in the purse. They got caught. If there was money in the purse and it was not taken, that's very interesting.
Family so desperately wants
we
to
know
see.
they didn't take the
It
purse.
did not establish any two-way communication between these purported kidnappers and the Guthrie family, and it did not put in, as far as we're aware, any new deadlines. So the what has been described as a very consequential deadline remains sometime on Monday. John?
And there was also that weird contact from somebody in California who reached out to the Guthrie family. That guy, we understand, has been arrested and charged, but it's unrelated to the actual kidnapping, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, that was just one of these sick people who piggyback on these kind of tragic circumstances. Somebody trying to shake the Guthrie family down for money. They got that guy pretty quickly. He was neither a good person nor a smart one, John.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting on that. I want to, let me see here. What was it? Nancy Guthrie gun store names. See, JLR, he said these names right here. I need to. Abnusi, Mubashir, all of these names. These are, yeah, they're like Middle Eastern names. I don't think that they're just Iranian names. I know a lot of people say that. I don't think they're just Iranian names. I think that they are Muslim names, if you will, perhaps. But That's very interesting. Let me check
in
this
that
out.
surveillance video from Guthrie's front door camera. Now, testing is underway to find the note to TMZ. They have received a fourth message from a man who says,
See what Brian said here.
It's on the ground into you seeing it.
Elizabeth, I have some brand new reporting that I just confirmed in the last couple of minutes, and that is that FBI agents have been to several gun stores right here in the Tucson area. And when they show up to the gun stores, I have learned that they have 40 names and 40 photographs that they are showing employees of the gun stores and asking them if any of those people have been inside the store or if any of those people have purchased weapons. So that's brand new. Again, we just confirmed that. In terms of the DNA testing,
that kind of makes me wonder if in the past, like, you know how like this perpetrator bought these clothes from Walmart? They bought it, in my opinion, just specifically for this. Did this person buy the GUN specifically for this occasion?
a lot evolving there too. News Nation's Libby Dean has confirmed that the DNA that was pulled off of a glove about 2 miles from where I'm standing outside Nancy Guthrie's house, the DNA has yet to be put into the CODIS FBI database, but that it is going to be happening soon, which is significant because once they get it into the database, at that point, they will be able to cross-reference it against other criminals who are in that database and perhaps maybe make a match. And lastly, Elizabeth, you remember Friday night, there was that big FBI raid that we were at. There were no arrests made, but I am told not to think that that is totally off the table yet in terms of possibly being connected. There was a federal search warrant that was conducted, which means a federal judge had to sign off on it, which means that there was some meat on the bones there, I'm told, in terms of how that home and those people could have possibly been connected.
Hold on, I got to listen to that again. What?
Database, and perhaps they will soon, which is cross-reference it again. They get it into the database. At that point, they will be able to cross-reference it against other criminals who are in that database and perhaps maybe make a match. And lastly, Elizabeth, remember Friday night, there was that big FBI raid that we were at. There were no arrests made, but I am told not to think that that is totally off the table yet in terms of possibly being connected. There was a federal search warrant that was conducted, which means a federal judge had to sign off on it.
Federal, guys, I cannot stress this enough. Federal, not a local, not a state, federal. That's why I think, in my opinion, they will be back at Mr. Daley's house for something. Federal. A federal judge.
Which means that there was some meat on the bones there, I'm told.
And the Attorney General, by the way.
In terms of how that home and those people could have possibly been connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, and that they are still going over the evidence right now, electronics, and that there was even DNA taken. So I'm told to be patient on that front, that there could still be more coming soon, Elizabeth.
Brian, who are the...
Boy, that's interesting. Be patient on that front. There could be more coming soon. I mean, listen, come on, guys. In my opinion, you're just not going... A federal judge is not going to sign off on this search warrant if there isn't something that's... Yeah, there's just no way.
These 40 people, these pictures that the FBI is taking to local gun stores, do we know?
We don't know the names, but again, we just confirmed this. So they have 40 names and 40 pictures. Does that mean that there are 40 persons of interest, 40 people that they're interested in? Are they putting some pictures and names in there just to sort of, that aren't even involved, just to kind of like, you know, throw people off a little bit? We don't know, but I do know that we've confirmed several gun shops, They say the FBI agents have shown up with 40 names and 40 photos. This is just within the last couple of days, and have asked them whether they have been inside the shop or whether they have purchased a gun.
All right. If you manage to learn from your sources how they landed on those 40 people, come give us.
I mean, they've got that search warrant. 40. Upwards to 40, I think it was, actually. I don't know, guys. That's just a little weird to me. Oh, I don't think they found Nancy yet at all, but no, I think the family would know. My opinion. Okay. All right, we're going to go. I want to show you this thing with the interview room. We're almost there. A second ago. There's a specific part.
If not, it's up for grabs, Mike. And the defense could grab it and get it tossed. I don't think anybody's left. I don't know if we can.
Okay, here
Larry?
we go.
And Ted, no. I don't think anybody's left the house, right, Larry?
Listen, here we go.
And thank you always for being here. I don't know if we can leave the house yet. And the reason for that, in my mind, is because the suspect came to the house. This is so rare, this incident.
Now, some people believe that Nancy, I don't know, Little Black Bear. I mean, this was absolutely planned, but I don't know. Are we totally confident Carlos isn't our guy? I have not cleared, in my opinion, no. Just because someone's nice on camera doesn't mean that they don't know anything. Don't let people fool you. They're going to, suspects or potential suspects, they're going to want to smooze you. They're going to make you, they're going to show you their best side of them. Don't let that
to show up and then
feelings
take, somebody out of that home, not, just do what you needed to do in that home. And the fact that they're concealing their face like that,
listen to this.
That tells us that individual was really lowering their risk, right? They're probably not very sophisticated, but they're a combination of sophistication.
Yes.
What I mean by that is,
listen,
this guy's not that dumb, because we're at 101 days and we're still talking about him.
He was not that dumb, or the person, if he didn't plan it. I mean, he can't be that dumb, because if he was the one that did it, there's no such thing as a perfect crime, right? But if they can plan it, we can think of it. If they came up with in their heads, we can come up with ours in our head. But someone could have also planned this for him as well.
I'm not of the camp, that he's been hurt or he's no longer with us.
Yes.
Because that takes the secondary risk now into 2 murders potentially. And, let's use Michael Vaughn as a perfect example.
That is true.
The initial assessment of Michael Vaughn was that was a walk away. It's a walk away. The child walked away and he disappears. Okay.
Listen to this.
That's kind of like the same scenario here. Initially, this idea presented itself as that was a possibility, and the police were thinking that. The family was saying no, yes, no, but we think it's more potentially of a medical event, and they were calling the hospitals, all of that stuff. Okay. As you've heard me say,
it happens.
The timeline is screwed up for all of that. Okay. But there was some miscommunication potentially, going on.
Someone's going to have to show me a receipt on that, Kathy. Just because I would have to see a receipt that Tommaso had a gambling debt. If there's not a receipt on it, then it's just a rumor.
So they treated it as, in their minds, well, we deal with this all day. There's blood on the porch. Maybe, she did walk away. But then there's this contradicting statement from the sheriff that says, well, we knew immediately that it was a crime scene. So to me, again, that's one of these 50 gaps that needs to be filled in relationship to understanding what the totality of what was really going on that day.
It's bad, Sherry, those AI videos.
Okay.
And that's the thing. The AI videos are horrible. They're horrible. They just make up shit. It's so bad. Didn't someone ask Nancy for a loan? Not seen a receipt on that. God, what are these YouTubers?
Because if we look at the timeline in New York, that church service has already been completed. And then so at some point, what's the habit of all the girlfriends getting together with Nancy for everybody to watch the church service on Sunday morning around 11? Well, does that mean Nancy drives over to her girlfriend's house? So that means she takes time. She's got to get up by 9 or 8:30, get ready. And then she's got to be over there by 11. So that means she's got to get in her car or get.
Let me tell you something about the AI videos, because I pay for a subscription for AI videos, even though I never use AI videos. I need to cancel it. But it's good for things that you type out. But this is what I can do at these AI videos. Just so you know, I can type in Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, Tucson, Arizona. I want a 15-minute video, submit. And it will generate a 15-minute video of things that are said online, and it'll just gathers different parts of what's being said online, whether that's news or gossip, and it will merge it all together. That's what an AI video is. It's cheap money for people. That's what it is. It's for lazy people. That's what it's for. They don't research. They don't do anything. That's what they do. Don't believe fucking AI video, please.
Get an Uber, however the mode of transportation is, and we don't know what that piece of the puzzle.
If you can't see them, don't believe them.
Is yet. Again, more gaps that need to be filled. We just can't presuppose that 11 a.m. comes and the girlfriends call and say, Nancy, where are you? What's going on? We're texting. Okay. Because I'm assuming everything's in place on Sunday mornings.
Sherry, I know for a fact people believe them. And I'll tell you why. Because people send them to me all the time. People send them to me all the time, and they sound real. They look real a lot of times. And I'm like, baby, that's AI. I'm sorry, but that's AI. That's not true. And they're like, okay, well, thank you for telling me. But how many people don't know? You know what I mean? How many people don't know?
Well, the mimosas are made. The chips are out. The cheese and crackers are sitting there, and they're all in church. Okay. Well, that means Nancy has a routine. And they have a routine because they've been doing this for so long together as girlfriends and friends. Like my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's been in a book club for 56 years. In a book club. And hi, Carol. She never misses. But she has a whole routine to get ready for the book club, and boom, she's off.
Right. So Nancy obviously had this routine that was every single week. She went with their girlfriends. They had the church service where they watched Savannah's church in New York. Oh, is someone having a hard time in here, Linda? Justin, I sent you an email about a reported phone call that was made, and they believe it's Nancy Guthrie. Yeah, we'll listen to it. Yeah. What's going on here? 1 second. Let me check this little depraved soul. 1 second. 1 second here. Trinity. I don't see a Trinity. Yeah.
To the book club. She has a driver that takes her to the book club. Well, is that what Nancy's routine is? And if so, guess what? That 11 moves way back to maybe 10:30. And the journalists out there need to ask these questions. And that's what I was talking about earlier.
Have access to
the journalists that I used to go up against, they'd be just peppering you with, well, wait a minute. You say 11, but did she have to prepare to come to this? Okay. You'll notice when they did start asking the hard questions, Nanos is so used to controlling the media in that media market. He even said, those of you who know me.
Wow. Did y'all see Brian's new video? Robbers threaten to cut off fingers in terrifying wrench attacks. It's terrifying new wave of robbers called wrench attacks when attackers target people flaunting their wealth on social media and break into their homes, forcing them to unlock their bank and crypto accounts. The trend appears to be worsening, so how can it be stopped? And what can you do not to be a victim? That's crazy. Robbers. Not you, Robert. Not you, Robert. Robbers. People flaunting their wealth.
No, I'm not good at scripting. Well, guess what that tells us? That guy says whatever he wants, when he wants it, and they write it down. And what he's not used to is a national media market, i.e., the Brian Entons of News Nation showing up and saying, well, wait a minute, Sheriff, that diaper stinks. Help me understand that.
I love Chris. That diaper stinks.
And those folks came in and start putting pressure on him. And what did he do? He shut down.
Brian did a video on it.
And who did he go to? He went to his local market and he pushed his narrative. He pushed his narrative. To me, old school journalism is dead. Not at the national level.
Listen.
At the local levels.
And
because they're letting these people control them.
Yes. And just think of this, though. Think of this. The local people, if you've got a stubborn sheriff like Sheriff Nanos and you push back, they're not going to give you sources, right? They're not going to give you sources. Wendy, thank you so much, dear. Appreciate you very, very much. Just found your channel several days ago, and I love your viewpoints and discussion. And your makeup is like, oh, thank you so much, Wendy. Appreciate you. What makeup? What are you talking about, girl? Natural. Thank you, Wendy. Appreciate you very, very much. You're very kind. Really do appreciate your support. Thank you. Oh my gosh, Chris McDonough talks about Nano so much and talks like he knows exactly what he's thinking and doing. It's too much. I don't know. I agree with Chris on Nanos, actually. I agree with Chris on think in my opinion, it takes a cop to know a cop. You know what I mean?
And that's wrong. That's wrong. Your job is to ask the hard questions and put them on the spot.
Yes.
Don't worry about the next story. It's coming. God forbid it's another Nancy Guthrie. But at least, push back with this guy. And so, that piece of the puzzle, if the FBI does take over and that video was before, where I was going, before they shut it down and they handed it over to the feds and said, can you get anything out of this? That evidence will probably still stand.
Right. It was the feds that I guess got in contact with Google and got the video of this perp, and Cash Patel released it, not Nanos. He did not release these. Number one. Who knows if even Nanos would have released this to begin with. Number two, when the FBI went in to, how like Nanos cleared the home, and then like a day or two later, the FBI went in, that is when they found the hair. The Pima County missed the hair.
It'll be fought over, but it'll probably still stand.
I think they cut their fingers off.
Not heard one Nancy Guthrie friend say something about her. Yeah, and isn't that interesting?
Well, we all do.
We
all do.
Right? That could be maybe the investigators pulling them aside and saying, look, for the integrity of the investigation right now, can we ask you a favor? But at some point, you're going to run out of those mulligans.
Could be.
And those people are going to start thinking really about their friend. And they're going to start talking. And when they do,
nope.
Put your seatbelts on.
Nope, Linda.
Because that's when other stuff will start coming in that we may or may not like to hear. But it will be necessary to hear it, whatever that is. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate your kindness. Thank you for your honesty and your time tonight. Is it normal to seal 911, not release victimology? Could the silence from FBI be like a lion waiting for its prey to make a move before they pounce?
A lot.
Thornbridge Hill Estate. That is
Hope you feel better.
Definitely always a possibility that, they're setting the trap and luring this person in. But this person, would you agree?
So Daphne and I, we've been working on something, and there is something very interesting about a dentist in a dentist office trying to
or disagree.
work
It's
the kinks
okay.
out in that a little bit.
This person here is calculating every move.
I do too.
And I've learned the quieter somebody is,
Now, that's an AI picture.
the more dangerous
Just
they
showing
become.
This is the real picture.
The more manipulating they project. Much more manipulation.
Maybe that's where they got the idea from.
And they get dangerous. What information would I release?
Well, that's the thing. You've got to prove someone is dead unless she has something set up, like if she would go missing or be incapacitated for a significant amount of time, then her family could get whatever she had or whatever. The one he just showed there was not real. This is the real one. Right here, and right here, and right here. Yeah. I want Nancy found to give the Guthries peace of mind and be able to, yeah, you know, I just feel so bad for people who like lose their loved ones and they don't have a place where they can, that they know where they're at. You know what I mean? Hey, the real me, good to see you, babe. I know. Poor little Emily. God, hope they solve that.
Well, I would have released day one. I would not have danced around the blood on the porch. I would have, if the PIO came to me and our team and said, "Hey, what do you guys think?" I think we all would have, discussed it. We would have looked at each other and say, "What's your opinion?" We've gone around the room, and then I would have felt very comfortable about releasing the blood on the porch. Not like the sheriff did. I'm not going to confirm or not confirm whether there was, anything on the porch or in the house, out of the house. You have to step up and own it, because eventually the public is going to find out. And that's why you see,
it makes me wonder, like, are they still trying to find Nancy, or are they just trying to find the perps and then they'll talk to them maybe if they talk? Is this going to be a nobody homicide? Because they're just not seeming to look for Nancy, which is just always been weird to me.
With, unfortunately, they have much more volume.
Thank you, Zone 8. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you, love. Appreciate you. Thank you very much, Zone. Good to see you, my friend. Oh, look at your little kitty cat. Hold on. Oh, so cute. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. You got a calico? Is that a calico? I love cats. Calico must be a girl. Just a quick little fact. It is almost unheard of, or it might be unheard of. It's very, very rare for a calico to be a boy. Just an FYI, cat. The more you know. I feel like they are trying to find Nancy. Why aren't they searching then, Little Red? You know what I mean? Like, why are they not searching? Why are they not allowing searchers to come in then?
They step up and say, "Look, we have a deceased male in this house. He appears to have been, the victim of a gunshot wound. The autopsy will be performed to, tell us for sure, but that's what it appears at this point. We have some blood evidence, but right now there are other pieces of evidence we don't want to discuss. However, when we do have information, we will discuss it with you." Thank you. Next question, you give the public, oh, there's a guy in there with.
Well, it's like, I believe that they know. In my opinion, they know who this person is. I think they've known a lot more since probably that search warrant with the dailies, specifically the dailies. Maybe they are doing searches, but they're doing very small searches with, FBI officers, if you will. Maybe they're doing that. But if you find Nancy, that's going to give you a lot of information. That's a lot of, she is evidence, right? Alive or deceased. Report on the internet, it was determined that Sony was under immense financial strain. Kathy, AI, I don't care about AI though. That's the thing. AI, all AI does is just what people say on the internet and what news says on there. I've just not seen where Tommaso has a gambling debt. I haven't seen a receipt for it. If you can give me a news report, like an actual news report, I'll I'll look at, I'll take that or a receipt. It's very possible he could have, but I have not seen a receipt that says that.
The gunshot wound and he's dead. The reason for that, right?
Absolutely.
In any case, is people walk by these.
Yes, it's not just absolutely, Babs,
kind of
1000%.
things, and they see the guy, just like that picture I showed you in the beginning of the guy laying on the street.
I mean, in my opinion, the news isn't going to say Tommaso has some big gambling debt when they've not named a person of interest. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Like, why would they say, oh, well, Tommaso has a gambling debt, but he's not a person of interest? Right? Like, you just no. People say that online and AI grabs it up.
And they go, oh, that's a guy that was shot. It would have, I'm not going to stand there and say, no, you're not seeing what you're seeing. That is not going to hurt a interview with the suspect, because he knows he stabbed her or shot her or whatever they did. They know that already. You're not gaining anything from that. Now, the type of weapon, what's the caliber of that weapon? No, I want the suspect to tell me that. Yeah, or if it's a fixed blade weapon, I want to know what kind. I want to know why Brian Koberger used a K-bar knife. Why did you select that knife, Brian? Okay, but I didn't have a problem with them telling the public, oh, and by the way, there was a K-bar, or a knife sheath found. I wouldn't have said the K-bar. I would have said knife sheath.
Bab, or actually LS. As of today, what do you think about Zach? I don't know. I really don't know about him, because I was thinking about his passport, and I obviously told him not to show his passport, like the photo or anything. And I was thinking that could have been his wife's passport. That could have been anybody's passport. So I'm going to ask him if he'll show it to me live. Or not live, but behind the scenes. If he'll show me all of it. So that's I'm going to ask him that so I can verify that. I'll show him mine. Zach, you show me yours. I'll show you mine. I'll show you my passport. Come on now. I'm not scared.
And we have, gained DNA off of that knife sheath. I wanted that guy, crapping his pants that were coming. Because they also make mistakes. They make mistakes. You'll notice before Stacy Wander was arrested, Chief Huff in that press conference stood up there and said, these are the 4 people that we are working on. We're not saying they're, the guys that...
Now, the thing that really throws me off, and I just have not had time to look, to be honest with you, and I need to dig a lot more, and I need my AI, good God, my PI, we've been talking about AI, my PI to look some more into it. But one thing I need to look into is this, if he's a permanent resident, like, you have to be in America so many months or days to keep your status. And that's why I'm like, so you're a permanent resident, or you have your green card, and you haven't been here since 2019. So I need to look and see if there's exceptions to that and all of that. A couple nights ago. So,
it. We're just saying we want to talk to them more. There's nothing wrong with that in an investigation. Remember back in the day, they still do it in New York. Look at Luigi. They didn't hide anything from the public. They do perp walks with these guys. And the media, leans out and goes, "Why'd you do it?" If you're walking this guy, you want him to say, "Because I was."
Well,
you go, "Oh, they put that one."
And that's the thing as well. Someone just said this right here. Where was that? Yeah, but there. I'm sure there had to be something. He might have lost his permanent residence. I don't. I mean, he says he didn't. But here it was. I'm confused why Zach can't come to the USA without additional paperwork if he's a permanent resident. And you do not need a visa to enter the United States as a permanent resident. You don't need a visa. So I'm like, are you really a permanent resident? Why would Zach come here to do a crime? And what could he gain? Well, the thought is he was already here and then he would have fled to his original homeland. I mean, it does say that he has, and another thing that confused, it does say that he has an apartment and he's still getting mail there. And I don't mean junk mail, by the way. It knows when you move or not. And another thing that really, what was the other thing that really confused me? I'll think of it in a second. Oh, I asked him if he ever worked for a doctor as an accountant. And he said, no. And I'm like, then why is your name on this website? And I sent it to him. He's very likable. He is very, very likable. But that don't mean shit to me. Hi, Zach, if you're watching.
In the coin box, because we just hit a home run. Okay.
Most YouTubers, they get a feeling. I have seen this a billion times with YouTubers, a billion times, especially with missing kids, family members. They get a feeling, or they like the person, and they immediately will like take up for him. They'll throw all the facts to the side and just be like, they're good people. They would never do this. Good people can do some bad things sometimes. And they might not be good people. They might be terrible people, but they're just showing you the side of them that they want you to see to convince you. That's it. Clock it, girl. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Don't
hope that
be
answered
manipulated.
Your question. The eyes and mouth are identical to the Google photo of this guy, Daly. Can they use iris identification?
It says he's got it right now. It says he's got an apartment right now.
There are some sciences to that. I don't know in totality if this is the type of case that could, you can measure, between the eyes and all this other stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that they have technology for, but I don't know if that can be utilized in this one because they're just off of photos. I think it's imperative that this case have a resolution and a prosecution as elderly population rises. I believe with crimes like this, will only escalate. Sadly, thank you for your thorough coverage. I love TIR. Thank you, Elaine. We love you too. From our Jersey girl out there, you're awesome.
Then, but that's the thing, Ratui. Why wouldn't you just say that? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you just say, I own that. I rent it out. I haven't lived there in 6 years. But I can check and see if he owns it with the tax records. I don't think he owns it, though.
Don't you think it's safe to rule out robbery gone wrong? Yes. I would rule that out as one of the things I would do. Also, burglary gone wrong.
Absolutely.
Now, is it
Giggle.
technically
Absolutely.
a burglary? Yeah, because anyone who enters a home with, or a building, it's a building, by the way, under the statute, anyone who enters a building with the intent to commit a theft or a felony has committed burglary. So it's a technicality. And by the way, isn't that interesting that the sheriff's department initially chose?
But so many YouTubers, well, not just YouTubers, social media true crime channels, I have seen it 1,010 times. They get manipulated by people who are nice to them or whatever. Nope.
That verbiage, rather than it was a kidnapping. Well, if nothing's been stolen, yeah, the DA's office or the U.S. attorneys can charge burglary, but that's a lesser included offense to homicide. Ultimately, they're going to charge homicide. Okay? The burglary is just going to be something there as basically a charging enhancement almost. The jury's going to get all these,
right. So he married an American citizen. When you marry an American citizen, you don't just become a citizen yourself. It is a pathway to citizenship, right? But it still takes years to get a citizenship before you become a full American, if you will. Now, permanent residence means you can live here pretty much as long as you want, as long as you're in the country. I think you have to be 90 days a year. I'm pretty sure it's 90 days a year inside the country. What did GT say? Justin, is his U.S. apartment empty, or does someone else live there in his absence? Does he sublet it? I don't know if it's empty or not. All I know is what the reports say. And I do know that Zach, in his interview, said that there was a YouTuber that went, I don't know which YouTuber it is, and if you know, just don't say, but there was YouTubers that went to the apartment and sat outside to see if he was there. And he said he was going to sue them. Now, another question I have, and I'm going to ask him about this as well. He's probably watching. If you're watching, Zach, you can join. How do you know that they're outside watching? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know if they were outside watching? Are you pulling it up on YouTube and watching them? Or do you know someone in the area? Or whatever. I don't know. What did Sandwich say? Where's Sandwich? How the hell did MG link to him if he wasn't even there that long. You mean the car dealership? There's some things that, there's some things there that I have looked at that is weird. I got to be honest with you. He seems like a very nice guy, and I appreciated his seemingly being fairly transparent. I think she means like, how did he link up with them and start working there? Right. So when you come to America on a visa, like if it's a student visa or whatever, you can't work. You are supposed to have sponsors. Someone has to sponsor you, or you have to have enough money to live comfortably while you're here. So, that's right, Babs. But if he doesn't live in the apartment, why does that bother him? There were YouTubers. Yes. Yes, Ratui. Yes. Why does that bother him? If he doesn't live in the apartment, he has nothing to do with it. Why does it bother him that someone's sitting out there? I don't understand that. You get what I mean? I don't know what kind of visa he originally came on. No idea. No idea. I know he married an American woman. It doesn't make sense. If I didn't live there, hadn't lived there in 6 years, I'd say stand outside, mother chicken, till the day of judgment. For all I care, you're going to be waiting there a long ass time. Yeah, the back of the Range Rover said MG Motors, and they said that was how they linked him, but I'm not sure. I mean, I think they looked up MG Motors but I'm not sure if that's exactly how it linked. I'm just not so sure. So he's suing YouTubers at the front of his apartment, but he doesn't live there. Make that make sense. Like I said, there's some things. I think he's a very likable guy, and I hope he puts the mask on that I buy him, and the bite light, and the camera, and he does that, and that'll really tell me a lot. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe she's, went to Jordan and she's, happy there and all that. But I don't know. I don't know either. I mean, a lot of people say they're going to sue you and they don't, so it might be just a threat. Who knows? He sends it's so good to see, babe. What does M and G stand for? I have no idea. Well, like I said, the reports that I get the reports that only police and private investigators can get. It's not the standard background checks that you get online. I get it through a PI. a private investigator, okay? And they are pretty accurate. So I would be surprised, in my opinion, that he hasn't been there in 6 years. I would be surprised. Could it be wrong? Anything can be wrong. Anything can be wrong. But it's, the kind of same report that I got with the Sebastian Rogers case when I told you guys, if you followed me that long, that KK and Edgar got those other 2 lines. And I showed you guys the receipts on that. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see.
These orders that they're going to sign, how do you declare? Well, yeah, we found that he did enter with the intent to commit theft or a felony, and the felony being kidnapping. So therefore, yeah, he's guilty of burglary also. Okay, but Lori Vallow committed murder. So did Chad Daybell. Burglary was also charged. But the DA's office didn't come out and say, this is a burglary gone wrong. They said, no, children are missing, and we found them in the backyard, deceased.
See, I don't know if he talked to the FBI or not. I really don't know if he talked to the FBI or not. He said he didn't know who he talked to. I think he talked to probably someone in Pima County. But the bite light and the drooling and having DNA is so odd, it could not. But bite light and drooling and that having DNA, so odd, it not being left behind. Well, I don't know if you have a bite light necessarily, you're going to be drooling the whole time. But what I do think is if you, right, like if you are going in there and you're getting Nancy out of bed, right? And you've got to take that bite light out of your mouth to talk. Right? And if he touches something, there's going to be some saliva on that. Hopefully the motherfucker drooled everywhere. I hope so. That happens also when someone moves and does not change their mailing address or DL address. Well, the kind that I have, it, from what I understand, it goes off not only like mailing, but it goes off pings with like your phone and stuff too. Like, do you know how like Google or whatever always knows where your home's at? You know what I mean? Where you're generally staying, it knows where you work. You drove so many miles to work. That as well. And how does he know who's watching him? I don't know. I wonder how much it makes a year to travel that much and all the expenses. It seems there's more to his story. He says he works in Dubai mostly. Yeah. Baby, you can still turn off that location and the pings will still, the towers, they're still pinging. They know where you're at, that location or not. They do. Rewatching you and mentioned the list of things you're sending Zach. Yeah. A box of chocolates, a ski mask, a bite light, and a Ring camera. You can get the Ring cameras pretty cheap on Amazon. I need to order one. Really cheap, actually, I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. Video. Doorbell. camera. Oh, you can get the Blink video doorbell cameras for $35. You can get the Ring cameras for $59 now. Ooh, they have one on here for $9.99. Damn. Ring doorbells are so much cheaper than when I bought mine. That's crazy. Send him a hazmat suit. I might as well buy him the whole fucking outfit, right? What size pants do you wear, Zach? What size shirt do you wear, Zach? How many gloves can you fit on, Zach? Listen, if he's a good sport and he does it, I'll really appreciate that. And listen, if it doesn't look like him at all, I will be his number one supporter. With, and I stretch all these, we figure out all these things, of course. But yeah, I don't think he's the porch guy. LD closer fits the porch guy, in my opinion. No. I am not at all interested in LD. There is way too much. I don't think there's any connection, in my opinion, on LD. I think it's a waste of time, my opinion, though. I haven't even spent any time on him. Some you cannot even see the image properly on some. Yeah. You got to check the reviews. Poor Zach's with expire on those clothes in the Dubai. Exactly. Zach looks thick. She's a little thick. She is, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. I got to be up at 5:30. It is now midnight here. I am old and decrepit. I need some sleep. Talking out loud, but nearby empty apartment unit could be a good place to hide. We think of Nancy, the first thing we think of is just like her being put in the desert or something like that. But you don't know where someone's put. Trigger warning what I'm about to say, but she could be in a freezer for all we know. In someone's house, you don't know. Right? And that's another thing that makes me wonder, is that why they're not out searching? Is she in a barn somewhere, a building, a storage unit, a freezer? Is that why? You just never know. The first thought we think of, she's probably out in the desert, which is statistically probably most likely. But again, you just have no idea. I've got earrings older than... You got earrings older than 40 years old, Pugs? Oh my God. My gosh. I'm telling you, I can feel the change in my body. It's really weird. When you're aging, I can really feel it. 40, it changes. It does. Oh my God, does it change? Tell me something. When you were 40, for people over 40, could you feel the change then? Could you start feeling the change? Wait, it gets worse. Don't. I want to know. Yes. Hell yes. I want you to be honest. I did not feel it at 40, but I sure feel it now. Not so much at 50, yes. I feel a difference in my body. I know, but I know it's going to go. But, like now, if I scrub the house too aggressively, it takes me a couple days to get the soreness out of my body. it does. I'm like, oh, damn, it's going to take a couple days to get out. Not really 40 as a kid. I'm halfway to 80. I'm halfway to 80. I feel like I should be, because your soul never ages. Your soul doesn't age. You're still the same as you always was, right? I feel like I should be, when I say I feel, not my body, but my, my mind, I feel like I should be still in elementary school for that matter. But yes, and I've never said as much as I do now. So let me tell you something. I'm a pharmaceutical walking. I take probably 15 supplements a day. Yeah. I take my omegas 3, 6, and 9. I take some other oil thing. I take a B complex. I take zinc. I take vitamin D. I take a lot. I take something that's for your brain. Thank you, Justin. Oh my God, I'm older than you, Justin. Lordy, Lordy, I wish I was still 40. It goes by too quick. It really does. Like I have always had, we're just making this a therapy session, aren't we? I've always had trouble with time. It gives me anxiety. Not for me, but just I love my people, right? And just seeing, your people age and all of that. And it just gets to me if I think about it too much. You're prescribed 4 vitamins. I nursed both children long-term on demand. I can't say I've done that. So, I mean, like if I lived, the Lord lets me live to be 80 years old, I'm halfway to dead. That's the way I think. I'm like, God, I feel like I just started, and if you are lucky to live to be 80 or longer, you're halfway to dead, Justin. That's depressing. Yeah, I've thought, but I have a whole gym in my house. I have a whole gym, a whole ass gym. For some of my really long-term subscribers, you've probably seen me on the treadmill a couple times live. Deborah, welcome to my head. My grandfather lived to be 100. That's such a blessing. I can't really say I have good genes with my parents. My dad lived to be 48 and died. And my birth mother, she has had cancer and 2 sets of knee replacements already, a shoulder replacement. I'm screwed. Come on, Don. Let's go. Yeah. I had twins at 30 and the next at 31. How did I have the energy? That's the thing, y'all. Like, seriously, my kids now, they're all teenagers, right? And I don't know how I had the energy. I had twins too. So, and then I had a single. So I don't know how I had the energy. I look back, I'm like, what? How did you do that? Well, I can't wait till we're here in 20 years' time, Justin. How funny is that going to be? You never know. You never know. How old do you think I am? 36. 36. I had my last baby at 38. He keeps me young. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. There's no way. No. I don't know. I think maybe, I mean, this is the thing, right? My grandmother raised me. And she was like in her 60s or 50s, late 50s, early 60s when she had me. And there's so many grandparents raising their kids today. And I think it's not a choice when you have kids, right? Like you just have to do it. You just have to do it. And I just don't think you realize it. I think they keep you young, actually. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't take iron. I take collagen. I'll never graduate from collagen, ever. Any collagen. Because I didn't get the best parents. I didn't get the best parents in life. But I got the best grandmother. The best grandmother ever, thank God. And that's one of the reasons I'm very, very passionate about what I do. Oh my God, Justin, you're young yet. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a nana, raised 3 grandchildren. It's a tough job. Yeah. Yeah. Children do keep you young. Yeah. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining me. Appreciate you all. God bless each and every one of you guys. I will see you guys, Lord willing, tomorrow. Special thanks to mods, members, chat. Really do appreciate you guys. Yes, magnesium's very good for everything. If you live in the western part of the planet, the hemisphere, you are pretty much magnesium deficient. You need magnesium. Love you guys too. Thank you guys so much. Lord willing, I'll see you guys tomorrow, or if anything breaks in the meantime. Get some rest. You only get so many trips around the sun. Good night.